Welcome in, boys and girls. It is time for Outkick, and this is NFL Draft Eve. And as you all know, many crazy things can happen on NFL Draft Eve. It is a little bit like Christmas Eve, when all of the presents are prepared to be put underneath the tree, and all of us are going to wake up tomorrow morning, and the draft will finally be here. But between now and then, there is still much drama to be found, and that, my friends, is where we are right now. Let me give you a roadmap of where we're headed. Shannon Spake's going to join us in a few minutes. She made the correct pick. Oh, that's an interesting phrase. Correct pick, I should say, that Brad Keselowski was going to win in Talladega. He did. That paid off at 11-1. I'm sure she'll take a victory lap there. Second hour of the show, Chad Withrow from the Outkick 360 will be hanging out with us, and then, as he does every single Wednesday, we'll be joined by Will Cain from Fox News, formerly ESPN radio host, for a discussion on a variety of different issues, including who his favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, may be looking to grab with the number 10 overall pick. But I got to give credit to you, Dub, because I'm obsessed with this too. The gambling markets are so much fun to follow as the NFL draft inches closer and closer, because there's so much that they can tell you about who's actually putting money down on so many different storylines out there. And by the way, you can put your own money down if you go to FanDuel.com/Clay. That's FanDuel.com/Clay. $5 bet on Trevor Lawrence to go number 1 overall, and he is going to go number 1 overall, pays back $100. They're basically giving new users free money. Got your mom, maybe for Mother's Day, early present for mom. Hey, mom, here's an extra $100. Get her to sign up. FanDuel.com/Clay. $5 turns into $100. You really can't lose on this bet, because we know Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars are drafting Trevor Lawrence. $5 turns into $100, a 20-1 payout. All you have to do to get hooked up now is go to FanDuel.com/Clay. Okay, so we know number 1 overall is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Number 2 overall is going to be Zach Wilson, and he is going to go to the Jets. Number 3, we've got a little bit of an interesting story here. I'm looking at the live odds on FanDuel as I am speaking to you here in my home state of Tennessee, and Mac Jones has surged all the way out to a minus 340 favorite to be the San Francisco 49ers' 3rd overall pick. That is a big favorite right now, the biggest favorite so far that Mac Jones has been. Justin Fields back all the way to near 7-1. Trey Lance at 3-1. And by the way, a little bit of money coming in on Kyle Pitts to be the number 4 overall pick as well for the Atlanta Falcons. So, Dub, what you have noticed is part of the drama that is going on right now is, what are the Cincinnati Bengals going to do? Because for a while, I thought, hey, surely the Bengals are going to go offensive line. And I thought that because of the beatdown that we saw Joe Burrow take last year that ended in a significant injury for him. But now all of the money has come pouring in on the idea of Jamar Chase being the first wide receiver off the board, partly because Jamar Chase is such a good friend and former teammate of Joe Burrow at LSU. Now, Jamar Chase set out for the season, but he now is a pretty substantial favorite in this position. If Jamar Chase goes 5, there seems to be an idea out there that a lot of people are not very excited about. The Dolphins maybe going with who knows what the Dolphins would end up doing, but that they may then go potentially trade back at the 6th spot, and there might be an interest in somebody coming up and trying to grab Trey Lance. You've been paying attention to this story, Dub, and there's some pretty compelling betting market news out there, the line, that would suggest that there is potentially a trade afoot, and we would presume that it would be Trey Lance that would be maybe going in the 6th spot. And what are you basing that on?
Well, if you look at the FanDuel Sportsbook,
yep,
they have the number set, the over-under for draft pick for Trey Lance set at 6.5. Now, almost every mock draft I've seen has Trey Lance going later than that to the Broncos or one of those types of teams, right? So, I mean, this makes me think that Cincinnati's going to go with Jamar Chase, who's probably who the Dolphins were hoping to take. The Dolphins won't be able to get their guy. And so one of these teams in need of a quarterback, that's going to be a real suitor for them to trade up and for the Dolphins to trade back at the 6th spot. And he's a very heavily favored to the under on the 6.5. Minus 230, which is pretty significant. So I mentioned this yesterday. This is Vegas giving us a clue to what they think is likely to happen. And it makes total sense if the Bengals do indeed take Jamar Chase, which is kind of what a lot of people are thinking along with the sports books. If that happens, it looks to me like someone is going to trade up. Maybe it's the Broncos to that 6th spot to draft Trey Lance, perhaps.
And it's interesting, if you're playing this out and you're thinking about it from the Dolphins' perspective, what they could be thinking is, hey, we're at 6. If Jamar Chase comes off the board at 5, we don't want to go wide receiver necessarily at 6. But they could trade back. Let's say that you're right, Dub, and that the Broncos want to trade up from 9 to go get Trey Lance at 6. Well, the Dolphins could pick up a pick, drop back to 9, and probably they would still be in a position to get maybe Jalen Waddle, maybe Devontae Smith, or to get one of those 2 big tackles, either Slater out of Northwestern or Penei Sewell out of Oregon. And so sitting at 9, they may be able to get the exact same guy they would have gotten at 6, and in the process they trade back in a very Bill Belichickian model, which again is Brian Flores' previous, the guy that he basically built his career coaching watching. This seems like potentially a very good play, and in fact, I took advantage of this very idea on Fox Bet Live on Tuesday's show, because I thought I was getting pretty good value on the Dolphins to end up either with Penei Sewell, because they may well end up taking Penei Sewell if they decide not to drop back, because the Broncos could call their bluff, right? I mean, the Broncos could be sitting here and saying, man, it's possible we could stay at 9, not even have to move at all, and get either Trey Lance or Justin Fields without having to give up any additional assets at all. Because if the Dolphins draft at 6 for themselves, they're probably going to take an offensive player other than a quarterback for sure. Then you've got the Lions. I think the Lions have a good chance to go defense, given Dan Campbell there for the first year. Then you've got the Panthers, who just traded for Sam Darnold. Do they want to go at 8 and add a 3rd quarterback? I think that's possible. But you can kind of roll the dice and think the Broncos could, hey, we're going to get either Trey Lance or Justin Fields without having to move at all. Why would we give up any assets in order to do that? So this is a story worth following for sure at the top of the draft. Up next, we're going to be joined by Shannon Spake. Big-time win for her, picking the winner of the Talladega race. And we'll see what else she's got going on. All that headed your direction. Want to make sure you know, go sign up for the podcast. Don't miss a minute of this program. Loaded show coming for you the eve of the NFL Draft on Fox Sports Radio.